you're watching CVR News English with me, Havila Kottapalli. Welcome to World Bulletin. We'll move to the details. The grand military parade that United States President Donald Trump has been wanting for years barreled down Washington. DC's Constitution Avenue with tanks, troops and a 21-gun salute. The spectacular played out against a backdrop of protests across the country, where critics labelled the Republican leader as a dictator and a would-be king. Trump, also celebrating his 79th birthday, sat on a special viewing stand south of the White House, watching the display of US military might. The parade began early on Saturday, moving swiftly as light rain fell and clouds shrouded the Washington Monument.
This is the moment Donald Trump has waited to see for years. A U.S. military parade, the pomp and circumstance, the powerful weapons rolling past the White House.
Thank you to the greatest, fiercest, and bravest fighting force ever to stride the face of this earth, the United States Army.
It started in 2017 while watching the Bastille Day parade in France. Trump said America would top it. Now in his second term, this is what he got. Marching bands, 6,000 soldiers, military equipment, and dozens of tanks. On a hot day with storms in the forecast, the crowd appeared far smaller than was expected to celebrate the 250th founding of the U.S. Army. But critics say it's not a coincidence it's happening on the same day as the U.S. President's 79th birthday. This is extremely unusual in the United States, only the third parade of this kind. The first in 1865 after the Civil War, the second after the First Gulf War.
I was stationed all over the world.
A finale of fireworks to end the celebration, marking another year for the U.S. Army and the U.S. President. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera. This is the moment Donald
Well, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi left for Cyprus as part of his trip to attend the G7 summit in Canada. The visit marks an important diplomatic engagement ahead of the summit. Modi is expected to discuss key global issues during his meetings. This trip underscores India's growing role on the international stage.
As per the MEA statement, PM Modi will visit Cyprus on June 15th to 16th before going to Canada to participate in the G7 summit in Kananaskis on June 16th to 17th. Well, this will be the first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Cyprus in over 2 decades. According to the MEA, the visit will reaffirm the shared commitment of the two countries to deepen bilateral ties and strengthen India's engagement with the Mediterranean region and also the European Union. But Cyprus has condemned the terror attack in Pahalgam on April 2022 and has indicated that it would raise the issue of cross-border terrorism at the EU-level discussions. Well, it's important to know that Cyprus is set to take over the presidency of the Council of the European Union in the first half of 2026. Next, the Prime Minister will go to Canada, where Modi and Carney had their first phone conversation on June 6th when the Indian Prime Minister accepted an invitation to attend the outreach session of the G7 summit to be hosted by Canada in the resort of Kananaskis during June 16th to 17th. It would be his 6th consecutive participation in the G7 summit, and according to the MEA, Prime Minister Modi will exchange views with leaders of G7 countries at the summit as well as those of the other invited outreach countries. The visit also remains important as it could be an opportunity for the two countries to reset ties that rapidly deteriorated after former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau alleged in September 2023 that Indian government agents were linked to the killing of Khalistani separatist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Prime Minister Modi will undertake a visit to Croatia in the final leg of his tour. This at the invitation of his Croatian counterpart Andrej Plenković. This will be his first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Croatia, marking an important milestone in the bilateral relations. He will also meet the Croatian President Zoran Milanovic. The visit to Croatia will also underscore India's commitment to further strengthening its engagement with partners in the European Union. As per the MEA statement, PM Modi will visit Cyprus on June 15th to 16th before going to Canada to participate in
Well, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer met with his Canadian counterpart Mark Carney at Reading Cottage in Ottawa ahead of the upcoming G7 summit in Canada.
Told not to move. I keep going to see it. Yeah, it's really, really good. Oh, we got Ottawa. This is a walk through the gardens of the Governor General. That's your It's very much my team. This is like I'm as nervous as you in the Champions League. Yeah. At least best of seven. Best of seven. So we're down to best of three now. Yeah. It's all going to work out. The Oilers are going to win. It'll be the best G7 ever. Very good. All right. Well, thanks for coming. No, yeah, it was very good. Trying to get in a bit of a catch. I'm told not to move. I keep going to see it. It's really, really good. Oh, we got Ottawa. This is a walk through the gardens of the Governor General. That's your It's very much my team. This is like I'm as nervous as you in the Champions League. Yeah. At least best of seven. Best of seven. So we're down to best of three now. Yeah. It's all going to work out. The Oilers are going to win. It'll be the best G7 ever. Very good. All right. Well, thanks for coming. No, yeah, it was very good. Trying to get in a bit of a catch.
Well, Israeli forces have intensified restrictions on the movement in the occupied West Bengal by erecting new checkpoints, gates and concrete barriers. Palestinians report severe disruptions to the daily life, with ambulances struggling to transport patients through the complex maze of closures. The lockdown, justified by Israel for security reasons, has effectively isolated Palestinian communities from one another. Meanwhile, Israeli settlers continue to attack Palestinian homes and expand the illegal outpost, taking advantage of the heightened tensions, and Palestinians find themselves caught between Iranian projectiles and Israeli interceptor missiles with no access to bomb shelters or adequate protection. The Palestinian government's ability to provide assistance remains severely limited due to Israel's pervasive control over the region. While speaking at a press conference in Tehran, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi stated that Tehran does not seek to expand its conflict with Israel to neighboring countries unless forced to do so. He described Iran's military response as purely defensive. As Israeli air raids continued, Araghchi reaffirmed Iran's opposition to nuclear weapons while defending its right to peaceful nuclear development. He also revealed that Iran had been prepared to offer assurances during the now cancelled sixth round of US talks, which might have led to an agreement. Araghchi has also accused Israel of attempting to derail diplomatic progress with Washington. Police in Los Angeles responded to protests sparked by federal immigration enforcement raids a week earlier, used tear gas and crowd control munitions to clear out demonstrators. The unrest, which began locally, has spread to cities across the country.
Peaceful protest! Peaceful protest! Don't shoot! This is a peaceful protest!
Don't make it fast, guys. Don't pile up. We need to get out.
This is not serving your country! Shame on you!
Let's get home safe, guys. Come on. Let's get home safe. Come on. Hey, we don't want nobody to get hurt. Come on. We don't want nobody to get hurt. Come on. Please. Please.
Peaceful protest! Peaceful protest! Don't shoot! This is a peaceful protest!
Well, missiles and projectiles were seen in the skies and Tel Aviv early Sunday as Tehran launched a fresh attack on Israel, prompting an expanded Israeli assault on Iran, and the Iranian missile and drone strikes killed 3 people and wounded dozens in Israel. Israel has warned of further attacks following the intensified exchanges. Israeli emergency teams worked to clear rubble at the site of an Iranian missile strike on Bat Yam, south of Tel Aviv. Both Iranians and Israeli woke to smoke and destruction following an overnight escalation in attacks, with Israel targeting Tehran's defense ministry and Iran unleashing a deadly barrage of missiles.
רק אם ייתנו לי להיכנס עכשיו אני אוכל למצוא את הדברים. הם לא ייתנו, ראה אותנו למעלה, יתחיל לצעוק. Grava! רק אם ייתנו לי להיכנס עכשיו אני אוכל למצוא את הדברים. הם לא ייתנו, ראה אותנו למעלה, יתחיל לצעוק. Grava! רק אם ייתנו לי להיכנס עכשיו אני אוכל למצוא את הדברים.
Well, the International Monetary Fund has warned that a 10% rise in oil prices driven by the ongoing Israel-Iran conflict could add 0.4% to global inflation. This increase underscores the broader economic impact of escalating tensions in the Middle East on the worldwide markets and consumer prices.
Iran, OPEC's third largest oil producer, pumps 3 million barrels per day. That is accounting for 3% of global supply. The shock has revived fears of another energy inflation wave, with traders now bracing for wider supply disruptions. Now, the real flashpoint lies in the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow maritime checkpoint where 20 to 25% of world's oil and much of Qatar's LNG pass through. Any disruption there can push prices far higher. The IMF estimates that a 10% rise in oil prices lifts global inflation by 0.4 percentage points and drags GDP growth down by 0.15 points. That is, heating and electricity costs can also climb, feeding inflation globally and adding pressure on central banks to reconsider rate cut plans. For economies like India, which import over 80% of its crude oil requirements, the impact is swift and significant, from higher import costs to currency fluctuations and inflationary pressure. India's macroeconomic fundamentals are tightly linked to oil. A weaker rupee and higher crude prices directly raise fuel, transport, and manufacturing costs, feeding into inflation. A wider current account deficit also weighs on foreign investment sentiment. If the situation in the Strait of Hormuz worsens, India faces the twin challenge of managing inflation and maintaining external stability. The fiscal and monetary response will be key to.
While US President Donald Trump spoke with Russian President Putin about the ongoing Israeli-Iran war, both leaders agreed that the conflict should come to an end. The call highlighted the urgent need for de-escalation, and they emphasized the importance of peace and stability in the region. While a gunman posing as a police officer killed a Democratic Minnesota lawmaker and her husband in what appears to be a politically motivated assassination. The attack also left a second lawmaker and his spouse wounded. Minnesota's governor confirmed the incident and expressed concern over the violence. The motive behind the shooting is still under investigation, and the tragic event has shocked the local community and raised alarms nationwide.
Our state lost a great leader, and I lost the dearest of friends. My prayers also go out to State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who were each shot multiple times. The Hoffmans are out of surgery at this time and receiving care, and we are cautiously optimistic they will survive this assassination attempt. This was an act of targeted political violence.
They noticed that there was a police vehicle in the driveway with the lights, emergency lights on, and what appeared to be a police officer at the door coming out of the house. When our officers confronted them, the individual immediately fired upon the officers, who exchanged gunfire, and the suspect retreated back into the home. It was not a real police officer. This is somebody that clearly had been impersonating a police officer, again, using the trust of this badge and this uniform to manipulate their way into the home. I'm just going to remind us that this is an absolute active investigation. We have thousands of people sheltered in place in the city of Brooklyn Park right now. We are in an extensive manhunt involving hundreds and hundreds of police officers and SWAT teams searching, gridding off areas, as we believe confidently the suspect had fled out the back of the house after being confronted.
Our state lost a great leader, and I lost a dearest of friends. My prayers also go out to State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who were each shot multiple times. The Hoffmans are out of surgery at this time and receiving care, and we are cautiously optimistic.
Well, Israel is preparing for further Iranian retaliation by evacuating passenger-less planes, including Prime Minister Netanyahu's wing of Zion, which was flown to Athens to avoid attack risk. Major carriers like E1AN remain secretive about the relocation of the aircraft, though some have landed at Cyprus Larnaca Airport. Ben Gurion Airport stands near empty as global airlines suspend flights to Tel Aviv amid